from this government.
Craig Foss.
Mr Speaker. Thank you, Mr Speaker. I must pull the previous member up. The announcements, the tax changes that this government has brought in have been fiscally neutral. In fact, Mr Speaker, there's one point that I'll agree on, that's not quite right. They are fiscally positive over the forecast period. Not actually fiscally neutral, fiscally positive over the forecast period. But the tax switch, Mr Speaker, which is one of the biggest changes in New Zealand's tax system over the last 25 years, here's a question to pose to the Labour Party. Of which bits will you unswitch? Will you cut GST? Will you hike income tax?
Order.
Will you hike... Excuse me, Mr Speaker. Will the Labour Party be hiking business taxes? But, Mr Speaker, I cannot go on to... I will talk about the budget a bit longer, but today we've had a very, very important announcement from the Labour Party. And today, what has seemed to be missed is quite a strategic move on behalf of the Leader of the Opposition, Mr Phil Goff. Because today, on the front page of the Dominion Post, he totally shattered and shafted any chance whatsoever Labour Party President Andrew Little had of winning the New Plymouth electorate seat. The announcement of the Taranaki turnover tax, the tax on dairy farmers, the tax on farming turnover will absolutely obliterate any chance whatsoever Mr Little had of even making any gains in New Plymouth or Taranaki, Mr Speaker. Actually, for that matter, any chance whatsoever the Labour Party had of making any gain in any provincial or rural seat has been blown away by what was on the front page of the paper today. Now, I thought, Mr Speaker, it might have been a bit of a mistake. Maybe Mr Nash got a bit of ahead of himself, as he's wont to do. But questions today in the House, Mr Goff continued. The point, Mr Goff, it's not actually the data that is wrong, it's the way you interpret the data. And it is so revealing how they have gone from...
Order, a point of order.
Excuse me,
Mr. Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, while the member might actually have a point, I think he can't bring you into the debate.
Order.
If we criticised you in that way, we'd be in trouble.
Order. I didn't hear... If the member is alleging that the member on his feet, Craig Foss, was using the word you, then he's correct. He shouldn't be doing that. But I didn't hear that, and I do apologise. But
Point of order.
I've already pulled him up.
Point of order.
Order.
Point of order.
No, order. No, the House will come to order. That petty toing and froing across the House will stop. The member should be careful about using the word you because it does refer to the Speaker, and debate across the House should not be in that first person.
Point of order.
Craig Foss, point of order.
Mr Speaker, just clarification. I understand that member actually wasn't in his regular seat and he was standing leaving the chamber when he called the point of order.
The member can call a point of order for anywhere in the House. We're not too pedantic about that. But I do... the member is now... Oh, no, he's still there. Members should resist interrupting other members' speeches unless there's good reason to interrupt them. I'm not sure the reason there was quite that strong. Craig Foss.
Mr Speaker, the brutal attack, the Taranaki turnover tax, the brutal attack on Taranaki, Hawke's Bay, New Zealand provincial and rural farming, families that are associated with farming, jobs that are associated with it. Mr Speaker, at least Mr Nash has front-footed it, and perhaps this is how they intend to fund some of their $7 billion of unfunded promises so far. I guess the rest of the Labour Party tax policy will continue. We have the turnover tax coming. We have a capital gains tax from Labour. We have perhaps a payroll tax coming from Labour. We have an increase in income tax from Labour, which they seem to be talking about more and more. OK, fair enough. They have said they're going to take GST off veggies. OK, 15%. Funnily enough, veggies have gone down by 15% in recent months, Mr Speaker. A brutal attack on business confidence, but I congratulate and thank Mr Nash for providing certainty about Labour policy and about Labour tax intention and about Labour's ambitions for New Zealand. It's interesting that not too long ago the Labour Party was calling the farming industry a sunset industry of New Zealand in the early 90s, Mr Speaker. And today we have the proof in the pudding. As their tax policy has started to roll out, we are seeing that they want to kill off farming for good. Perhaps some of the Green members might be a bit of a fan of that, but I, for one, Mr Speaker, value farming. I value rural New Zealand, I value provincial New Zealand. It is the heartbeat, it is the engine room of the New Zealand economy, and I cannot understand, because I was going to give Mr Goff a benefit of the doubt that it was a mistake, but his questions today reveal Labour's true intentions of a turnover tax, a capital gains tax for Labour, increase in income tax with Labour, perhaps a payroll tax for Labour. I did pose the question very early on of which of the National Party, the National-led government's tax switch that we announced earlier and put into place in the last few years will be unswitched if they were ever to form the next government, Mr Speaker. But to be fair, Mr Nash, I congratulate him on at least giving us some clarity as to how they will fund their promises.
The Honourable David